Okay, hi Geology, here we go. Week 3, assignment 2, working on our geology reference tables. Now obviously this is not our official geology reference table cover. Hopefully you have yours. If you do not, you can find the copy to print out in the materials list. So go ahead and do that and then come back. So you're going to need some supplies. I'm perfectly aware that we can do this on the fancy schmancy explain everything or notability, but I kind of like the ghetto-ness. So here we go. The rock is just there because it's pretty. I wanted to show it to you. So enough of that. We have some supplies, have a little bit of whiteout because I got to correct something. A couple highlighters, a couple colored pens. So grab your supplies. Here we go. So open your reference tables to page 2 and 3. And usually when we do this, we look at one page individually. We're going to look at these two pages together. So if you see, they actually overlap. I don't want to do this. There we go. They overlap. So the assignment this week is really just kind of explaining this to you guys and color coding it. And next week, we're going to dive more into it. So here's the geology history of Colorado State. So all of this stuff, these 2 pages actually are really right here. This, my dears, this is your timeline. In fact, let's pick up a pen and just put here, timeline. That's the actual timeline. So we start at 0 millions of years ago. Add in MYA for millions of years ago, because you'll see that a lot. 0 all the way down, back in time, back in time, back in time, to here, the very beginning of the Earth. So with your highlighter, highlight estimated time of origin of Earth and solar system, or basically Earth's birthday, and put down here 4.6 billion years ago. 4,600 million years ago is the same thing as 4.6 billion years ago. Why does it look like a C? It's an A. Oh, my handwriting. You don't miss it. Okay. 4.6 billion years ago, the origin of Earth. As we move up in this time scale, we move toward current time. All the way up to here. 0 millions of years ago. So right here is present day. Okay, so then if this is our whole timeline, what the heck is all this? All this is a lot of information shoved into just this portion of our timeline. This big portion of our timeline, back in time, and if you watched the 2 videos, which you promised that you did, not a lot happened. Why it's called the pre-Cambrian. Cambrian means life, so pre means before. It's a little bit of a misnomer because there was some life, but it wasn't much happening. It's just kind of like, you know, some amoebas blobbing around. And then you get to here and the explosion of life. So grab a highlighter. I'm going to switch up the colors because I like to be like that. I'm going to use pink. So right here, this portion of the timeline goes wee all the way down. And this transfers over to here, over to here. So all of this stuff is actually here, just this portion of the whole timeline. So then why do we do this? Because this is so much stuff. So we expanded it, you know? Okay, let's break it down further. Let's go back. So 4.6 billion years ago, once upon a time, there was a star, then it exploded, then it congealed, it came back together, Earth was born. Okay, that's like the preschool version, but you get the idea. So the oldest known rocks were about here at about like, I don't know, 4.3 billion years ago. As you go up in time, biological carbon, ooh, microfossils, stromatolites, those are so exciting. And we start to slowly get some oxygen, 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 oxygen. Okay, see this dotted line here? This dotted line, so I'm gonna grab a non-highlighter just to kind of showcase this. Just to show that we had abundant stromatolites. If I go all the way over here, this kind of matches up. And then here's our granitic intrusion, regional metamorphism, and folding metamorphism of 2.7 billion years ago. So let's go back up here. So we're here in our timeline. First, sexually reproducing organisms. And then we get here about a little over 500 millions of years ago. So we follow this down. We go here. Okay, so how this is all broken down, there's eons. There's two main eons, the Precambrian and the Phanerozoic. Eras are broken down even further. So as we've talked about the Precambrian, there was some stuff, but not a heck of a lot, and also because it's so long ago. So there's three reasons why we know that there's not much happening in the Precambrian. One, there's not much happening in the Precambrian. Two, any fossil evidence, stromatolites for example, you need to have hard parts in order to have fossils. If you have like a jellyfish, it's not really going to make a very good fossil. So there's not really any fossil evidence. And three, the rocks that were there, let's say that there was this random fossil, it's been all metamorphosed and distorted over 3 billion years. So a lot has changed and shifted and been destroyed. So we don't really have much evidence left over. So three reasons why we don't have much evidence of the Precambrian. Okay, so back to our pink line here. Back to our eon, beginning of the Phanerozoic, the era. So we start with the first one, the oldest. Let's write that in. Oldest. Mesozoic, middle. It really just means the middle. Cenozoic, newest. Wow, really got to work on my handwriting. And then eras are further broken down into periods. The one that you know and love, and I know, is the Jurassic. I heard someone say, I don't love the Jurassic. Whatever. Okay, Paleozoic. Let's go down all the way down here. So it starts with the Cambrian. So here's how this works. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you because, you would just turn off. I know. So oldest up to the newest or the younger. Here are the ages. So millions of years ago, the Cambrian started at 542 and it ended at 488 millions of years ago. The Ordovician started at 488 millions of years ago and ended at 444 million years ago. Okay, so let's go down. So we have eon, era, period, epoch, further broken down. And then we have some life on Earth. I just said Earth. Life on Earth information. And then we go over here. Time distribution of fossils. Okay, and this is where Mitchell goofed. Yes, she originally pilfered this information from New York, and then we made it our own. So we're going to white out New York. We're going to white out New York. I'm sorry I didn't do this for you earlier. Now all of YouTube's gonna know, and they're gonna tattle at me. So, of Colorado and Colorado. Okay, we're just gonna see if you don't spell things right. You just make it really messy, and then no one will know. Okay, so let's go back here. We go all the way down. This is the beginning of the Cambrian, 542 million years ago. Great diversity of life forming with shelly parts. Yes, it actually says shelly parts. So trilobites. Trilobites are my favorite little creatures. They're just so cute. It's so lovely. You should look one up. So they started in the Cambrian. So how long did the trilobites live? If I go over here, I have this time distribution of fossils. So it says trilobites. So they were created, whatever, that's a fine word. They evolved here, and then about here, they became extinct. So what are these little letters? Each of these letters refers down to these particular types of stromatolites. They're called index fossils. I don't know if I'm going to get to that, so I'm going to move on. But I do want to point out something super funny. Come all the way over here. This is like a little bird that's next to this dinosaur. So obviously this is not drawn to scale. It's hilarious. Okay, so back to this. So here we are. What was happening in Colorado? There was an invasion of the sea from west to east a dike intrusion. A dike is when you have an igneous intrusion that cuts through layers. Rapid development of hard-bodied life forms. So this is all the information that's in the Cambrian that in our timeline is actually up here. Okay, one more thing I want you to do. Well, maybe one more. Grab a pen. Let's talk about these inferred positions of land masses. We know from first semester that the plates are moving, plate tectonics, convection, so it's not always been the same. So where has all this been happening? So I just want you to mark the equator. 0 degrees, 0 degrees, 0 degrees, 0 degrees, 0 degrees. So see how North America's right here? It's showing you according to the equator, relative to the equator, that we've been moving north of the equator as we go forward in time. So there's one last thing I want you to do. Grab a highlighter. So here we have, let's go back to here. Here we have our great diversity of life forms, right? So let's highlight that. Now, the Paleozoic ended here, right? At the end of the Permian. What happened at the end of the Permian? Mass extinction of many land and marine organisms, including trilobites. So we're going to highlight this to show that this was a mass extinction. And that's what ended the Permian of the Paleozoic era. There's one more mass extinction that you know and love more. Right here, the end of the Mesozoic, end of the Cretaceous. Mass extinction of dinosaurs, ammonoids, and many land plants. You tell me why that happened. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a little extra credit points if you write somewhere in your reference tables, like right here, why or what it was that knocked the dinosaurs out. That way I'll know you actually listened to this and didn't just, go to the end, hit pause, and draw. Okay, so color this just like this in your reference tables. Take a picture, upload it. Full credit for assignment 2. Easy breezy. I'll see you next week.